Hello, readers! Welcome back to Reading in the Middle, the podcast that shines a light on the messy, magical middle grade years and the books that help us navigate them. I'm your host, Annisha Jeffries, and today I'm talking with the extraordinary Olugbemisola Rhuday-Perkovich, the author of Operation Sisterhood and the brand new follow-up, Stealing the Show. In these two joyful, vibrant novels, we meet Bo and Sunday, two girls navigating change, creativity, and what it means to become family. Set in a Harlem brownstone full of pets, music, and beautifully messy love, these books are bursting with culture, connection, and so much heart. We'll talk about sisterhood, stage fright, free schooling, and the power of Black girl joy. If you've ever tried to hold it together while everything changes around you, or stepped into the spotlight and felt a little too bright, this episode is definitely for you. So, let's get started with my interview. Hi, Olugbemisola, how are you? So happy to have you.
I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for
So
having me.
Of course, this is it's my pleasure. Happy to have you. And I just want to say I'm a big fan of your work. And let's start from the beginning with Operation Sisterhood. You know, Bo goes from being an only child, right? And then suddenly
Yes, she
sharing,
does.
yes. And so suddenly she's sharing a brownstone with 4 adults, 3 kids, and a small zoo of pets. Can you
Yeah.
just take us through Operation Sisterhood and, like, for our listeners that have not read the book but are going to?
Sure. This is a great time for that. I just came back from second workshop for a theater adaptation of Operation Sisterhood. So
Ooh,
it was so much fun. And being able to sort of work in a different form just really, I get to know the characters in different ways. And like seeing other people interpret them really makes a difference. So Operation Sisterhood started for me really when I was a kid, when I was like 9, 10 years old. And I used to read a lot of books that had big families and kind of joyful, happy families that did a lot. They played music, they were all together around the dinner table and just kind of wacky and fun, but they weren't Black families. And so from that time, because I was a writer as a kid, I was thinking I wanted to write a story about the families that I knew and like the people that I knew. And so I was always thinking about that. And then when I finally had the chance to write Operation Sisterhood, I really drew on my childhood experiences, the biggest of which were I'm the oldest, I'm an older sister.
uh-huh.
I have a younger sister. And for many years, she and I had best friends who were our same ages.
Mhm.
And at the same time, we would also always ask our parents if for Christmas they would adopt more sisters for us, like at the exact same age. And so that was like the seed of the idea. And I really just wanted to write about a fun family, a family that lives very specifically in New York City because I was born in New York City. I worked for a long time as a literacy coach and instructor in New York City. And I meet all kinds of kids. And one thing the kids would say a lot is that, we're not in the books that we read and we're not in the books that we get. And there are all kinds of kids. And there's so many stereotypes about the city. And people think the kids and the people are all mean or like a certain kind of tough. And so I wanted to tell a story about all the different kinds of people we have in the city, the diversity within Black communities that's in the city. And I chose homeschooling. They call it free schooling in the book because they're an unusual family. Um, One, because New York City just has so much to offer. And even as a mom, when my daughter was very young, I kept going back and forth between traditional school and like hanging out with homeschool groups that were doing all these cool trips and activities. So I drew on those experiences too. And pulling all that stuff together, once I started thinking about Bo as the main character, the themes became about flexibility and setting boundaries. And when you're at that age of 10, 11, and you're sort of trying to figure out how you're going to come into yourself And at the same time, the adults in your life may have very specific ideas about what you need and what you should do. And other people around you have ideas. And for Bo, it really was about figuring out like what makes me happy. How do I talk to my mother, the adult in my life, about what makes me happy when sometimes her ideas might be different from mine? Because I think that's a very challenging thing for people at every age, but also for a young person, a young girl at that age at 11, talking to her mom, who she loves very much, who, as an only child, she feels that they have sort of a special relationship. And she might even think that she's a little more grown than she is because she's an only child. Understanding that her mom wants the best for her, wants great things for her, but learning that those great things might not be the great that work for her.
Absolutely.
So all of those things were sort of a part of telling the story, a part of figuring out the story. And finally, when it came to the writing of the story, I ended up writing it during the middle of the height of the COVID pandemic and here in New York City. And it was just a really, really sad time in the city. And I did not think that I was going to be able to write a joyful book. Set this mission for myself to write this fun, joyful book, but it was just a very, very sad time. And I had to really think about, okay, what do I want to give kids? What do I want to give readers? What do I want to let kids, even here in the city, know that like there is joy beyond what's happening right now, that there is sadness in our lives and it can coexist with joy. It's a part of life, and it's okay to hold all these complicated emotions and complicated things at the same time. And that's what really got me through writing the book.
That's wonderful because, like you mentioned, that time we have a generation that, that grown up during this pandemic,
Yeah.
whether it's like preteen or maybe preschoolers or just young people in general. Like I just spoke with a young man who I met at working at the library. He was a teen, and now he's an adult. And I happened to meet him in an Uber, and he was telling me like his whole high school, everything was just it was like shut down. Graduation and everything. So he really didn't have that full senior experience. And so, navigating that, how do you talk to young people about those feelings when my feeling was, and I know maybe with the same with you, I had a high school experience. I had senior, fun, preteen fun, but those feelings are valid. And
Exactly.
mentioning that and saying that having your characters verbalize that and have those feelings is really good because readers, they can connect with that. And that's what I love about Operations, that they can connect. And so both Bo, oh, you're welcome. Oh, yeah, come on. Yeah, both Bo and Sunday, they're trying to figure out like what it means to be sisters. And
Exactly.
I don't have sisters. I'm an only child, but I grew up in a household with my mother's siblings and my grandparents and my aunts. My mother's siblings and my uncles felt like siblings.
Yeah.
It was that
Yeah.
so I feel so connected. Although I was the only child, it really wasn't. You know what I mean? But it was.
But still, yeah, and there's found sisterhood and found family, and there's always, I think, in our relationships, and especially when you're a kid, trying to figure out like that friendship doesn't even have to mean liking the same thing. It doesn't have to mean always getting along. It can mean that there are times that you need space, and it's okay to ask for that, and it can be hard to navigate that. And I think just in general, books are just such a great way. Reading is such a great way to sort of help navigate those things. That's how I used reading as a kid, because we moved a lot. I was very, very shy. And that was how reading really helped me kind of navigate the world and figure out who I was going to be.
Right. And see, with Bo and Sunday, they're not just any kind of sisters, but they were brought together through their parents'
Exactly.
relationship. So, how did you approach writing that fragile, awkward, and ultimately beautiful dynamic between them?
It's funny. It was hard during the process. My editor sometimes would say, like, Sunday's so annoying. And I was like, no, she's not. She also, before Bo came, had been living with a set of twins who were very close, and she felt left out. So she saw Beau's arrival in the family is this like amazing opportunity to have her own sister, her own twin, her instant twin. And so she's doing too much, and she's doing it out of love and out of openness and out of eagerness. And for Beau, I think she learns that she doesn't have to be self-sufficiency isn't like a goal. It's not like a sign of accomplishment. And I think as a character, she really thought that like by handling things herself, by being her mom's sort of right-hand assistant person, that she had everything covered. And she sees that she can learn from the chaos in in the brownstone and from the chaos and creativity in the house. And she can pull from that and still be herself. She doesn't have to change who she is to be a sister.
Right. You don't have to change. And I know in the first book, Operation Sisterhood, we were kind of focused on Beau. But now in your new book, which came out
Yeah.
this year, Stealing the Show, Sunday takes the mic.
Yes.
And the pressure, right?
Yes.
So she's trying to like lead a musical while keeping her cool,
Yes.
and it's not going exactly as planned. So why did you want Sunday to be the center this time around?
Well, I did want to get sort of tell Sunday's side of the story, especially because, like I said, my editor was like, "Oh, she's annoying." I was like, "Oh, but it would be interesting to see because I think a lot of us know that kind of person who just seems sort of all over the place and who seems very out there and enthusiastic." And so I really wanted to dig into why she might be that way. And for Sunday, it really comes from feeling she's not confident. She feels that people see her sisters as special, and she doesn't feel like people see her as special. So she feels like she has to be louder, she has to be more, she has to be extra, she has to do something to shine. And so in the story, she decides that she's gonna produce and direct and star in this community musical, and then a famous movie and television star moves into the neighborhood. So Sunday thinks that by getting her in her show, people are all gonna be like, oh wow, like Sunday is it. And through the story, she kind of again, we're kind of exploring the themes of sisterhood and friendship and what a real friend is. And this celebrity friend, there are times when Sunday's not sure if she's really being a friend, if she's trying to undermine her confidence, if she's being a little shady, if she's being selfish. But she holds on to it because she's afraid to talk to her sisters about it because she feels like she has set herself up to be the one who's going to do everything and finally shine. About that journey of learning, which is what I think I end up putting in almost all of my books, that you are enough just as you are. Like, I really think, especially for Black children, a lot of times we talk about like Black excellence and Black girl magic and like all these things, which are beautiful and wonderful, but can also, I think, make kids feel that they have to be more or do more, that they can't make mistakes, they can't be human. And I really want to write about human characters, full-bodied characters, dynamic characters who make mistakes, who are not happy all the time, who live.
And they can have awkward moments, and that's okay.
Exactly.
And both Sunday and Beau have different ways of handling challenging situations. So Beau is all about
Exactly.
control and planning, and then
Exactly.
Sunday wants to shine but quietly panics when things get like a little bit messy.
Exactly.
And so
And they
I
get
know,
very messy for Sunday.
yeah, right, and they do. But that's okay. And your readers will be able to see which of Sunday or Beau that they are and how they can navigate situations. And what do you love about writing these contrasts? What do you think they learn from each other
It's so
across
much
different books?
fun. Yeah, it's so much fun. So it's a lot of fun sometimes when I go on school visits and some of the kids will be like, "Well, I'm like Lil," or "I'm like Sunday," or "I'm like Beau," and that's a lot of fun. And for me, it's an extension of that idea that we could all be all four of the sisters. Like we're full dimension, we're three-dimensional, we're full body, that sometimes you may be feeling like Beau and feeling like I need my space, I have a plan. Sometimes you may be feeling like Sunday, like going with the flow to the extreme and seeing what chaos brings. Writing the four different personalities, one, is just fun as a writer. to just play around. But also, I hope that even as maybe a reader identifies with one, that you could see that maybe there's a day that you identify with another. There's another day where you identify with another, because I really hope, first and foremost, that readers get whatever they need from my books. It's so interesting for me to hear all the different takeaways, because once I write the book and it goes into a reader's hand, they form their own relationship with the book, and it becomes their story in a way that I may never have even imagined. And so I hope that they can pick something from all four sisters that they can use in their life or hold on to, or just imagine, maybe think of something that they hadn't thought of before.
Yes, they can always think of something that they can create their own or have their own twins in their life,
Exactly.
or they can have their own twins. And what else,
Exactly.
you know,
Or put on their own show and
if they
do
haven't
some of the
already.
projects that the girls do. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
And also, throughout both books, there's moments of tension. Neighbors who don't get along, pressure at home, friendships that get tested. How do you balance writing about joy while also giving space for real life emotions like sadness, anxiety, or being misunderstood?
But I really draw from life for that, because that is what happens for all of us. I think that, and I think it's like, especially now, where, at least for me, we're in a time where there is a lot going on. There is a lot that is heartbreaking. There are things that are happening in this country, in my city, and then around the world, in Congo and Sudan and Gaza, and things that are, you want to say, unimaginable, but they are happening. And at the same time, we do have moments of building community, of being in community, that can be joyful and that kind of help us all, I think, process all of the other things that are going on, and that help us expand our imaginations to maybe think of ways to transform the world and to do better in the world. I really hope that readers can see that it's okay to hold all of that, that's a part of life, that you don't have to, that laughter, or like the poem, Toy Derricott's poem, which is "Joy is an act of resistance." That line, I think, is so important and is a very real thing, and that we can hold on to all of the parts of who we are, and all of the parts of who we are can be a part of transforming the world for the better.
For the better is correct. And joy in both of your books, I love you have joy is at the center of it all. And it's not sugary in a way, but it's full and it's vibrant. Why is that important to give readers, especially Black girls, stories filled with joy, connection, and
Yeah.
possibility? Because it's so important.
Yeah, I think I want to contribute to, because like there are many stories about joyful Black girls that I love, and that even that I read as a child. I think that very often storytelling in all the different forms, in television and film and in books, what can get prioritized, especially for Black girls and women, is the pain and the trauma, and that can sort of be pushed forward as the single story. And so it is very important for me to remind myself, even, that we are not a single story, that our joy, we have a right to access our joy. We have a right to claim that space and to take up that space and do it unapologetically.
Hmm. Thank you, because that's so true. I mean, and I get it, but sometimes, why do we have to have stories that are just like, wah? And I get that.
Yeah,
And
that's
it should
not
be
the
a
only
balance.
story.
No,
Yeah,
it's not.
it's not
We
the
should,
only story.
we are geeks and we're fashionistas and we're so multi-layered. We're not just this one thing. And,
Yes.
and we laugh too and we tell
Yes,
jokes and,
yes,
we
we're
have
human
fun.
beings, and
Yes, we're human.
we have a right to tell all, we have so many stories. We have a right to show and be our full humanity.
Absolutely. Now, let's talk about Harlem. It's a character in both books. There's music, dialogue, history in the community garden, and there's warmth in the food. Yum, yum, yum. Why was setting this story? And I know you're from New York, so was that meaningful to you to make sure that Harlem was represented?
Yes, it's funny, when I started the book, like the beginnings of it, I was still living in Brooklyn. I lived in Brooklyn for almost 20 years, and so it started, the setting was in Brooklyn, but then when I moved to Harlem and there was a community garden, right around the corner from me, which I had been visiting since I lived in Brooklyn. And so the community garden in the book is basically that same community garden. And the Harriet Tubman statue that I had always been going to and taking my daughter to. And I had worked as a college student in the area where the family lives and had seen a lot of sort of transformation and change, but at the same time, seeing the way that the community stays rooted. And some things are just, they're not going to go away. Like there may be forces that try to remove a lot, but the people, the history, the sense of community, that's not going away. And so I really wanted to tell that story, and I really wanted to share the warmth and the joy of Harlem, of New York. And because I think that's something, sometimes people from other states or other cities will say to me like, oh, I'm scared of New York, or how can you live there? And just, like sort of throwaway remarks. And so I really wanted to share the unique neighborhood feel that comes from all these different people. Like we're from so many different places here in New York, and we're real close together. And so we interact with each other. We look out for each other. New Yorkers are very good at looking out for each other. That was important to me to share.
Well, thank you, because it's wonderful. I love this. I love reading it, and
Thank you.
a lot of things surprised me too. But when you were writing, stealing the show, were there things that surprised you? Like writing for Sunday, was there something that surprised you? Where writing her character went in a direction that you didn't expect?
Yes, did not at all. So Marcus is a character in both books, and he's a kid in the neighborhood. And in the first book, he's kind of like their annoying kind of boy on the block who he's maybe a frenemy. Like he's their friend, but he gets on their nerves. He teases them a lot. And in Stealing the Show, I did not plan it, but it started working out that he and Sunday actually developed a friendship, a special friendship. And that really surprised me. And then it sort of gave new dimensions. There were things about Marcus that I really hadn't thought about, but in writing that about their friendship, some things came in where Sunday was sort of able to give him advice about how to talk to his mom and things in his family. So that whole little storyline surprised me very much.
It reminds me of, you ever seen the show Sister Sister?
Yes, I love Sister Sister.
And I guess the young boy, yeah, Roger, I thought about that. So yeah, it was, for those of you, it's a 90s TV show with Tia and Tamara Mowry. It was real popular. I was already in my 20s, but I still watched it. I thought it was a show.
Me too.
But, you can stream it, listeners, watch it and enjoy it. It's fun. And it's a great show.
It is. It's a lot of fun.
And so you're juggling a lot of characters and plot lines, pets, free schooling, theater, sibling drama. How do you keep it all grounded while still letting the story sing? Because you do.
Well, thank you. Well, revision is definitely my friend. I'm a big fan of revision because I do tend to want to put a lot into a story. And one of the things that helps me a lot is always going back when I get in the middle where I'm just sort of like, what is this? I've got a lot going on here. And I go back and thinking, like, what are the central questions that I was really trying to explore when I started this story? I'm very character oriented in my writing. So I'm thinking about what are the central relationships? What's the arc of these relationships? Or what is the emotional heart of this story? And then what things feed the emotional heart of the story? And then what things really have to go because they're distracting from what the story that I'm trying to tell. And it takes me a while to figure out. I spend a lot of time sort of thinking about my characters, thinking about who they are. I take a very long time to do first drafts, but then I revise quickly and I revise a lot. And so each time I'm revising, I'm just asking like, well, what is the point of this? What do I mean? And each time there was a teacher, I think Nancy Atwell, English teacher, who would, I think in nicer words, basically ask her students, she would read the essays and say like, okay, so what? And so I asked myself like, okay, so what? Like, what's the point of this? Why is a reader going to care?
Yeah, you know what? That's they become invested in the characters, right?
Yeah.
and so you have many characters, but the focus is Bo and Sunday, and Bo
Yeah.
struggles with change. Sunday struggles with pressure, and a lot of kids feel both. What would you,
Yes.
yeah, right? What would you say to readers who are right in the middle of that, trying to hold it together, and also while their world shifts around them?
Say, please don't be afraid of acknowledging that maybe you can't hold it all together. That acknowledging that it's okay to not hold it all together. That even when people seem like they are, many times they are not. And it is okay to ask for support, to ask for help, to find the holding it together in community. I think that is the biggest thing, especially now that I would say with readers, even when it comes to reading, I get so excited about book clubs or like even within a family book club or just like reading aloud together or just talking about books together and talking about stories together because I think it's just such a good way to reflect on how we are dealing with all the things in our lives and how we are managing each day. For most of us, I think for at least me, I will say I am just managing each day and taking it day by day, and I say that's okay.
I agree, and that's good advice to give to young people because think that the world right now everything is going to last forever, whether that's like negative or positive. But just know you
Yeah,
take it day by day, and
yeah,
you will get through any challenge that you have. You will get through it. It's so important. And sometimes we have to tell our adult selves that too. It's gonna get
yes,
better.
yes,
Right, it's gonna get better. Now, you mentioned
yeah.
that you done school visits, and I'm curious, what was one thing that if you were one of the children in your audience, what's one thing you wish your middle school self knew about growing up, friendship, or finding your place in a new environment?
My middle school self. So I definitely was a kid who was very focused on achievement and performance. And I think on one hand, it did sort of make me try a lot of different things. So I did a lot of activities. I did a lot of different things. And I think that's great. I think it took me a while to understand that I didn't have to try to be the best at everything, that I could do some things just because I enjoyed them, that I could try something and maybe decide that, okay, it's not for me. And it's okay to not do it for a while or not do it at all or to change course. So I wish my middle school self understood more that I was okay just as I was. That all of the things that made me a nerd, the things that made me creative, all of the things could be a part of me and I didn't have to choose a certain me to be, that I could just be all the things that I was and let that grow and change and not worry about how good I was.
Absolutely. Not worrying. That's the key. Not worrying what other people think. Just being
Yes.
yourself, accepting
Yes.
yourself, and loving yourself is so
Yes.
important. But we don't think that when we're in that when we're growing up. We just,
No.
oh, what college am I going to go to, or what job am
Yeah.
I going to have? You're over. You're just thinking, thinking, thinking. But when you look back on there, you could just sit down with yourself and say, "Hey, it's going to be okay. It's going to
Yes.
be okay." And
Yes.
that's so important. And with your characters, knowing that everything is going to be okay.
It's gonna be okay. And even if you go through, because we go through valleys, we go through seasons, and everyone's life has seasons, and
Hmm.
acknowledging the seasons, you don't have to hide when you're feeling like it's not going too well, and you don't have to hide when you're feeling like, "Well, I have joy in my life." It's all a part of life, and it's okay.
Yes, yes. I wish every day for me was, I mean, year round was summer for me. That's my season. I love summer. Fall is okay, but summer, I love fun, and that's my season.
I love the beach, so, yeah, I like summer a lot too, I do, yeah. I haven't gone to the beach at all yet this summer, so I gotta get it
Uh-oh,
together.
better hurry. Yeah, come on now, get it together now. Okay, Olugbemisola, are you ready?
I hope so.
It's time for our lightning round.
Okay, okay, you see, I genuinely panic, okay,
Like, no panic. So I just ask you a few questions, and whatever pops in your head, you just answer it. Now,
okay,
sometimes It may be elaborate, or it may continue going on and on and on, but
I'm
that's
so bad
okay.
at this.
No, that's fine. But it's supposed to be fun. So
You see, I'm still focused on achievement. Yeah,
yeah, I see. I see. No, no, no. I will not grade you. I will not judge you. Just give me your answers. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Favorite snack while writing?
Ooh, while writing.
Hmm.
Well, I don't know if it's a snack, but tea. I drink a lot of tea.
Okay. Yeah, that's good.
And I will say I would love to always have cake while I was writing. I don't always have it, but if I did, that would be a wonderful thing.
Cake is delicious. What kind of cake? Kind of cake.
I love all kinds of I bake a lot, but I love cake
Too. And cookies.
and cookies, yes.
If you could spend a day in Bo and Sunday's house, what would you want to do first?
Ooh, I would probably either bake with Bo or I would sew something with Lil. Oh, maybe I'd play with the cats. See, there are too many things to do.
Those are the first two things. That's the first thing you could do,
Yeah,
though.
those are
Bake
first two.
and sew,
Okay.
so you're good.
Okay.
The best book you read when you were in middle school?
Oh, okay. That's a hard. I'm so bad at picking one. I okay, well, I will say my mom introduced me to Zora Neale Hurston when I was in middle school, to Their Eyes Were Watching God, and it was just, like, so beautiful. I was just astounded, so that is a core memory for me.
Awesome. Dream musical the sisters should stage next.
Okay, so I would love for them to stage a revival of the old movie Fame, like a performing arts school musical. That would be
That would be fantastic. Yes. Not the TV show Fame now, the movie Fame.
the movie Fame. Yeah, yeah. But I love
Right.
the TV show too. I love yeah.
I
I
like
love all
when it
things.
was before it went into syndication, when it was on
But
network television. That's
yes,
that's the Fame I like.
yes, yes.
But I did like Janet Jackson when she was on there.
When Janet came on, yes, because I loved Erica Gimple, so I was sad when Coco left, but
Mhm.
then Janet came, so I did love her, yeah.
They didn't give her
But
enough,
yeah.
though. They didn't give her enough. But okay, let me.
They did not. No, they did not.
This is Janet Jackson, and you're not giving her.
Exactly.
Like, okay.
Exactly. And we already knew she could act, so yeah.
One word to describe Bo and one word to describe Sunday.
Ooh, one word to describe Bo, I would say one word.
Mhm.
You know what? I actually would say for both of them, the same word would be thoughtful but just in different ways. I think they are both very thoughtful girls in different ways.
That's good, and because it's good to be thoughtful. It's good to have empathy. We need to
Yeah.
embrace that more, and
Yeah.
especially, with our young people growing up as adults, it's good to have empathy and to be thoughtful.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
And to
good.
really see people the way they are, not how we want to see them or how we want them to be, but to just see people the way they are.
Absolutely. So, what do you hope readers take away from Bo's quiet strength and Sunday's creative spirit?
I think for Bo's quiet strength, I love that description. Thank you. I hope that it shows that leadership doesn't always have to be loud, that leadership can be quiet, that leadership can be in the planning, that leadership can be. I think of someone like Ella Baker, who I had researched for a long time, who was someone who was an incredible leader behind the scenes and was an organizer and did so much work that people never saw, and people when the things that they did see were because of the work that she did. So I think that's a lot with Bo. And with Sunday, I hope she could be an example of taking risks and being okay with trying things and maybe not looking your best sometimes, but making that effort to try and take risks. And sometimes something better than you had even planned comes out of taking that risk and being a little vulnerable. So I hope that that kind of risk taking and vulnerability is something that Sunday can be an example of.
Yes, and you don't learn until you take risks. You don't,
Yeah,
you don't grow and
exactly.
learn. So that's important
Exactly.
too. Oh my goodness. Olugbemisola, thank you so much for writing stories that give readers room to feel everything: joy, awkwardness, creativity, and love. Thank you for sharing these wonderful sisters with us. I just have to thank you. And I just want listeners to know that Operation Sisterhood and Stealing Show are out now. And trust me, you're going
Yes.
to want to move in with this family by chapter 2. You're going to want to move in with them. I'm like,
Thank
where's
you
the
so
address?
much.
Where's the address?
This was such a fun conversation. Thank you so, so much. And just thank you for the work that you do to share our stories and to engage readers and just to amplify the power of books and storytelling and of libraries as just magical community spaces.
They are. They're magical community spaces, independent bookstores too. Want to promote
Yes.
that as well. Those are
Yes.
important too. And yes, you can't make it to the library, which you always should, everyone, and have that library card, but also support your independent bookstore.
Please, please, please do support your independent bookstores. They are community spaces and they are places where the people know you and know the community and are looking to get to know you more. We have such wonderful stores right here in Harlem and in New York City, and they do more than just sell books. They
Yes,
are really parts of the community.
yes, totally agree. And that's why we should support them because
Yes.
it's so important. And also, I have to keep plugging the library too because we do so much for the community and
The
it's so
library,
important.
yes. The library is my favorite I write in different branch libraries around the city, so I am
Yay.
not a cafe writer or a coffee shop writer. I'm a library writer because I love just being in the library space and, like, I get inspired by everything that's just happening and going on in the library.
It's a lot that happens. It's a lot that
Oh,
goes
yes,
on in that public space.
yes.
Thank you again.
Thank you. My pleasure.
A huge thank you to Olugbemisola Rhuday-Perkovich for joining me today and for writing stories that honor the full range of what it means to grow up. The awkward moments, the tender ones, and everything in between. Operation Sisterhood and Stealing the Show are both available now and make the perfect addition to any classroom, library, or bookshelf that celebrate love, laughter, and belonging. And to our listeners, if you're in the middle of something big, something new, or something a little bit scary, remember, you don't always have to be perfect to be powerful. Just keep showing up, just like Bo and Sunday. Until next time, I'm Annisha Jeffries. Keep reading, keep dreaming, and keep reading in the middle.